Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World, and I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee with Jonathan Spangler from Ciari Guitars, the CEO, and of course, the man who created all this, right?
I'm guilty as charged, and thank you for coming. It's an honor to have Guitar World here at our Nashville facility. We're just south of Broadway, a couple miles, so in the heart of it all, and yeah, excited to show you kind of our little honeycomb hideout and what we're doing here.
Yeah, today what we're going to do is we're going to dig deep into Ciari Guitars, so buckle up. Let's go for a ride. Let's just get right to the obvious, Jonathan. A folding guitar, why?
We want to make a premium travel guitar. I don't care what word you put before travel. All people hear is travel, and that equals compromise, and it's just not quality. And so we jettisoned the travel. We used to be Ciari Travel Guitars. We jettisoned that. And now it's stage, studio, and everywhere in between. That's kind of our new motto, because, you know, to have an instrument, not just an instrument, but a quality instrument at the ready when inspiration strikes, you know, that's what we're trying to bring to the evolution of guitars. Quality instrument, always by your side.
So we're gonna do a little test here to see how fast you can go from stored to getting ready to play. So Paul, on the count of three, 1, 2, 3, go. Seconds. Under 10 seconds, people.
We're hearing things like, you cracked the code, right? Rich Ford has said that. That was his quote. The number of people who say, damn it, why did it take so long? It's because we applied medical device level engineering on something that, you know, everyone has kind of assumed you don't mess with the neck. If it's just a folding guitar that's convenient but doesn't play worth a damn, then it is a gimmick. And that term has been thrown around since the day I started talking to people.
I didn't really think about it as gimmicky. I thought about the challenges to be what it needed to be, which was originally a travel guitar. The challenges were kind of, does the mechanism work? Does the guitar play well enough to be used by a person who actually plays guitar? And last, was it aesthetically pleasing? And the answers were, yes, the mechanism was good. No, it didn't play very well. And no, the aesthetics weren't up there. But in very short order, it climbed through those to be yes, yes, yes.
This shows the evolution of the design from a 3D printed 3-piece mid-neck hinge. So, you know, it looks like a cigar box guitar almost, but it was just simply to do a proof of concept, core proof of concept on the mechanism, and more than anything, the hinge, right? That mid-neck hinge. We go with the symmetrical 3x3 tuning pegs in order to keep the overall footprint at a personal item in air travel. Very nervously, I sought Joe Glazer out at the NAMM show in 2017, and honestly, if he would have said your guitar cannot be plecked, we would not be talking.
I got roped in by betting against it. Jonathan came up to the Plek booth. I'm part of the Plek company. And he came up to a Plek booth at a NAMM show and said, how much one of these things? Something we hear all day long. And he said, I'm building this guitar. It's a folding guitar or it's a travel guitar. And you know, these are all strikes, and not from the pitcher's point of view. And he pulled it out and showed it to me, and it was humble. You know, the design was very homemade looking.
The first thing he said, I folded it, unfolded it. He looked at me and he said, you're effing crazy. And then he plecked it, folded it, unfolded it, plecked it again, folded it, unfolded it, plecked it. Did it 3, 4, 5 times. And each time he was just shaking his head, and he came back and said, I think you might be onto something.
I'm part of Plek, and so everything is about playability. People bring a guitar and show it to me. I try to say something nice about everything, but you look down the neck and it's going like this. You go, well, I love this finish on the edge of the, you know, you find something, but the fact is that Playability. There are three things that matter: looks, sound, and playability. Looks are, they're not. It's not that impossible to get to a pretty good level of looks. I mean, you can make ugly looking stuff, but looks are not a challenge. Sound's a little bit more of a challenge. Playability is a master challenge. The job is make the string happy. If you make the string happy, you make the player happy, and then you make the builder and the tech happy. And what is a string? It's just a manifestation of a sound wave. All strings act the same, something we kind of have come to realize in the last 20 years. So the fact that there was this mechanism appealed to me mostly because it was a really well designed, really well engineered and thought out mechanism. And then when it got updated to this one, it took a quantum leap. And that interested me because usually you get something that works pretty good. You make these little tweaks, you paint the arm black, you do this and that, and you're done. In keeping with Ciari and the body design and everything else, things that were pretty good got targeted again to be exceptional.
We were probably too middle of the road. We didn't want to be too controversial on the look because we were being so controversial relative to the folding. And so, yeah, it was a tip of the hat to the Telly and the upper bow, tip of the hat to the Les Paul and the lower. And, it was just a little bit too vanilla. And even the headstock was more mundane. The new headstock that we have today, it actually has a nice left to right moving wave, which is a tip of the hat to our San Diego roots, the ocean. So this string management comes from this mechanism here. We just unlocked the hinge and it released the tailpiece. And now there are some springs that allow the strings to follow the fold and they nest ever so neatly in these tiny little V grooves. And the V grooves are just enough to keep them in place, but not enough to hurt the strings, damage them, kink, or what have you. When it's time to play again, simply make sure you're on your rollers, throw it, and you're a top off tune away from rock and roll. We now call this the Ascender Custom. Our electric guitars are all the Ascender, and then it's some sort of sub-brand and name from that. But you can see, it has a slightly different look than this. This is our Ascender Standard that we launched in 2022. It has a different body style, asymmetric, surf forward. This one doesn't have the pick guards that are now part of our standard offering. This guitar was used on our very first Grammy-winning participation. It was a studio album by the Count Basie Orchestra, and Charlton Johnson out of Memphis used his Ascender Custom in LA, and it was a very monumental achievement for us. There was a lot of iteration over time. We joked that we broke a number of strings, necks, but never will, right? And so, I have some photos from the early days where the prototypes did not last that long, but we thrive on iteration and improvement, and we're super, super keen on feedback, constructive feedback on how we can get better. And that's part of the beautiful relationship that we have with Joe Glazer. He does not suffer, he doesn't suffer fools, and he tells you exactly, what he thinks. And that's what I think any innovator needs, is people that aren't in the bubble day in and day out.
I mean, it's a village. I can take credit for this much of it, but it's a village. Nick Druschel, who works for me, did a lot of when we went and redesigned this body and the headstock, Nick Druschel and Grover Jackson and me and Jonathan sat down and worked it out to try to make something that was more aesthetically pleasing. So it's the work of a bunch of people, but it's also this real talent of a founder to know what to accept, because everybody will give you an opinion. Everybody will say, if this was mine, I would put a handle in here like the Ibanez, or whatever. And you have to know what to listen to and what to reject. And you have to look like it's all happening in a nice way, where you're taking certain ideas and throwing them off the cliff and taking other ones and trying to help them thrive. So it's a very complex relationship to success. You get something like this that's evolved a lot. You can think it just happened, but it never just happened.
So one of the things that differentiates Ciari Guitars is that we are an innovation company. We're an innovation company focused on guitars. And we have more than just guitars in our pipeline. Electric that we've seen, we have IP on an acoustic and even a bass. We get asked about a bass all the time. All I can say is it's coming.
There's nothing like the founder as representing the brand. Bill Collins kicked ass because he did it, and you look down the line at Paul Reed Smith, Bill Collins, you look at these guys, one after another, Dean, you look at them, they are very much behind why their companies were successful.
This is our Ascender Standard Plus that we launched at the NAMM show in January. It has coil splits off the master tone and volume, so you can coil split down from a humbucker to a single coil at the bridge and or neck at your so choosing. And anyway, the preferred techniques, though, relate to the folding. So when I throw this lever, we call this the actuator. When I did there, the strings are now slack, but the hinge is still locked. When I go all the way down, I unlock the hinge, and the tail piece, this black piece right here, is now free floating, and it's coupled to these springs, 4 springs. So when I fold the hinge, you can see that tail piece actually moves up and down. That's how the strings, A, don't get hurt, and B, don't go flying around. It's because of the elegant string management with our actuator and the spring loading of that tail piece, okay? The folding should start and end with the guitar facing you. And so guitar is facing me, I have my hand on my horn. Your left hand should go with your middle finger and thumb right around the 5th fret, and you just slowly fold it, and the strings will fall neatly into these tiny little V grooves there. And in this folded state, it goes in the backpack. We'll get to that in a minute. When I unfold it, I just go straight up. I always keep my left hand, the unfolding hand, around the 5th, because you don't want it to be in the hinge area. There's a handle here in the actuator. Put your thumb under that. Slide it up 3/4 and check to make sure that you're on your rollers. You can see here that the strings, and they oftentimes, most often, go right back onto those rollers. If they are, just simply snap it like that, and it's within a top-off tune away of being able to, start playing. Sometimes if you don't put your thumb and forefinger to keep the high and low E strings in, it's possible that the high or low E strings could fall off, okay? If that happens, just straighten the neck again, let them re-register out front, and then you can fold it again holding your thumb and forefinger on either side of that neck, and then ensuring that the strings fall neatly into those V grooves. If you want to change strings, this is another frequently asked question. And at the top of the tailpiece, you can see that the colored ball-ended strings. They come with 1046s from the Iterative NYXLs, and so all you have to do is pass them through. This tailpiece, goes around this string roller. You can see the grooves in the string rollers that allow each of the strings to ride. Turn the corner up through the, we call it a string yoke, which is it's a clear plastic piece that is adjacent to the nut. And that's to prevent the strings from popping out of the nut while the strings are in the low tension state, okay? pass it through the string yoke into the slots, through the locking tuners, and off you go. It's really, other than where to poke the the end of the string to start with, it's really pretty intuitive. That's what we're hearing from folks. And it should be no harder or longer to do a string change than if like on a Strat or something like that. So a little bit of a learning curve, but it's pretty uneventful once you do it once. So your full size normal look feel play guitar is now folded in half. Now it goes into the backpack. In the back of this backpack is a gig bag. You can travel with this by itself. This is what the guitar comes with purchase. High quality, quilted, protective, attractive gig bag. This can go in your roller bag to go in the overhead bin, or it can go in the back compartment of this backpack, which is how I like to roll. And this actually qualifies as a personal item in air travel. I flew here from San Diego. This was my rig. No one knew when I boarded the plane that I had a guitar with me.
I mean, to me, this is a lifestyle guitar. Whatever your lifestyle is, I'm about to go diving in November in Indonesia. I would never in a million years take a full guitar. But if I could put a guitar in a backpack, not because it's a travel guitar, but because it means I don't have to travel with a full guitar, I would do it. And so that kind of concept is, it's not a travel guitar. It's a guitar. It's a real guitar. It's a nice real guitar. It's Plek. It plays like $1 million. It's a nice, real, good playing, good sounding, Seymour Duncan pickups, top of the line, but you can also take it anywhere.
Joe Glazer, it was his suggestion to make this backpack extendable. And so that back compartment that takes the gig bag, look at this, 4 inches. So now you can, if it's an overnight fly date or what have you, I mean, you can put a change of clothes in there, or you can even put your pedal board on top of that. And in this, this is like a clown car. I have my guitar stand. I have my Waza Airs, and I have my Spark Go. This is if I want to play for other people. This is for me practicing. I mean, if no one's sitting next to me during the flight, if I'm on the far right side of the plane as a right-handed guitarist, no one's next to me, I can play guitar until I land. And so, we kind of joke that we have the chocolate and the peanut butter all in one buttercup, which is, the backpack with the gig bag. And, I have my laptop, my amps, stress-free guitar mobility, right like that.
Yeah, we're about to Plek one here. It does a scan with the strings on, so it can tell exactly how much bow there is in the neck, and it'll tell you exactly how much material it needs to come off of each fret for it to be laser straight. And then once it's ready, then you just take the strings off, and it's strapped in with this metal strap here, and it's pretty much ready to go. So I'll just shut the door, and it's going to scan it again without the strings on there, and it can tell exactly how far the neck is moved under string tension and under no string tension. And then once it's ready, it'll start cutting the individual frets. And it has the bit on there is concave, so it lowers the fret, and it also does the crown. And we also plane the necks as well, so we'll plane the fingerboard, and we use ebony fingerboards. So before the frets even go in, it's already planing it so that it's laser straight.
From a patent perspective, sometimes it's good not to be the first mover, but to be later on and look at, all right, what are things that we can solve there, solve there, solve there. And so what you're seeing is the output of our own audit of the best in class up until us. And that's what we tried to create.
Behind me here, our patent wall. And so for a company of our size, we have 13 issued U.S. patents, 8 of which protect our core folding technology. As to our solution and the best-in-class solution that it represents, we've taken great pains to get patent protection not only in the United States, but also internationally. And as a patent attorney myself, I joke I'm a patent attorney with a guitar problem. We take it very seriously, protecting the innovation that we're working so hard to bring to the market. In time, we feel like this will be a significant driver in the overall value of the company.